welcome to Recollections May Vary, a royal recap. Although this should probably be called like the royal baddies because it feels like we talk about, the baddies here on the show. I'm Kinsey Schofield here with Maureen Callahan, host of The Nerve with Maureen Callahan. So I have to tell you that we text. You know this. This is something you're familiar with, but the audience doesn't know that we text. And over the weekend, I gave you a new photo. So whenever we text or call going forward, the picture that pops up of you is going to be Hillary from Boston's yoga poses. You holding up Hillary from Boston, Hilaria Baldwin's yoga poses, because I died when you showed us on The Nerve over the weekend that she couldn't just pick one. She couldn't just pick one picture. So Hillary from Boston gives us an entire montage of yoga pictures in her book.
You know, Kinsey, I died when I opened that part of the book because it's actually smack in the middle. So you know how like a book will naturally fall open on its spine to the middle. So it's right there in the middle, which is like a weird metaphorically geographical place to place it. And then it's like when you go, if you buy stamps and you get the big stamp panel, like that's what those images looked like. There were so many, they had to run them like this little. And I promise you, that was a fight with her publishers because your eye doesn't know where to go. It's just overloaded with images that you can't even decipher. Like the human eye can't decipher all of those, but that is the level of grandiose narcissism, just my opinion, on display.
Yo, as you were talking about however she wants us to pronounce her name today, Mrs. Baldwin, I kept thinking like Meghan Markle's book is going to be just as crazy.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, one of my favorites is we're getting a lot of photos now of Meghan Markle from the back with the children from the back, and they're all clinging to her in weird embraces. But what I'm getting is I'm getting awkward. I don't know who this woman is, these toddlers. Like they're getting hugs from the help. Do you know what I mean? So they're just kind of like akimbo and like trying to like hang on for dear life. I love it. I love it.
Oh, but just some of the things you talk about when, like, in Hillary Baldwin's book from Boston, she says that, what was she saying about Los Angeles, Hollywoodlandia or something?
Oh, public figure landia.
Public
And
figure
please,
Landia.
Kinsey, bring the Spanish accent to the end of that. Just have some respect, would
So,
you?
sorry, I apologize. How you say cucumber? She is talking about how you can be two things at the same time and how basically she's trying to set the record straight. This is about the public's misconception and that she just wants to change public perception of her. And first of all, I could not believe some of the things she wrote about Alec Baldwin, and this is all due to your review. I have no desire to read this book, but she's critical of Alec Baldwin in this, the person that's given her this platform, something Meghan Markle would totally do. And then she definitely, it feels like the entire purpose of this book, aside from a quick paycheck, is to be like, no, you should like me because.
Right. But I want to get to let's just talk brass tacks, okay? This woman told us for years that she was Spanish from Spain. She was Spanish from Spain. And Alec repeated this on talk shows all over the United States of America. He would be like, my wife is from Spain. Like that's some big freaking unique aspect of one's life. So nobody asks her, nobody puts her feet to the fire. None of these shows, these shows are dying. Like linear television is dying. Okay. You want eyeballs? Get Hilaria on your show, the Today Show, whatever, and say, hey, so Hilaria, about that thing, about you saying that you were from Spain. Explain yourself, and don't let her out of it. It's not neurodivergence. It's not being bilingual. And, parts of her brain are just so unique that like one accent leads into the other. It's none of those things. She has nothing to offer. She knows this deep down, hence the rage at Alec, who does, despite having killed a woman, like he has some talent, she's got nothing to offer. So she glommed on to this thing like, well, if I'm a different nationality, then I stand out, which is
But
so
also,
weird. Yeah, I just want to say one other corollary to Meghan. Do you remember in the early days when we were all regrettably getting to know Hilaria Baldwin? She tended to apply bronzer with a very heavy hand.
oh girl, that's a very good That's a very good comparison right there. I was watching that when somebody asked me from Sky News Australia, Rita Panahi was like, "Why is Megan fake crying in this interview?" And I was like, "That you see that electric bronzer? Like you don't want to mess up that spray tan." But I wanted to say about Hillary from Boston. Do you remember that back in the day, we all knew how much Alec Baldwin was obsessed slash in love with Selma Hayek? And
Hmm.
I always felt like Hillary from Boston, the yoga instructor, was trying to appeal to him with that tabloid gossip, despite telling us she had no idea who Alec was when she started dating him. I felt like she tried to be more like Selma Hayek. And that was all based on kind of the rumors circulating that Alec Baldwin was in love with her and she didn't want like him in that way. And then when he finally falls in love with her, she's like, "Oh, I never heard of him."
Okay, many things. I love that you brought this up, the Salma Hayek of it all, because allegedly, reportedly, everybody in New York City knew that Ilaria was stalking Alec. She was going to dine at his favorite restaurant, waiting for the moment he would be in the same room. Okay. Number two, I think Tina Fey began trolling this on 30 Rock as their relationship was progressing. Because if I recall correctly, and really Alec Baldwin as Jack Donaghy on 30 Rock is one of the all-time great comic performances, like sustained. It was amazing. So, do you remember when I think it was who's that British Emily Mortimer
Uh-huh.
played this woman who was very wealthy, very interested in Jack Donaghy, but was pretending to have all manner of illnesses to make herself interesting?
Yeah.
And the Tina Fey character, Liz Lemon, kept trying to warn Jack Donaghy, and he was having none of it because he was so blinded by like all the things that came with this woman, a much younger woman, a beautiful. So I think if you go back and rewatch, I mean, it's like a meta text, it's a subtext, it's everything.
That is hilarious. Also, Val Kilmer loved that show. So thank you.
Hey, I didn't know that.
Yes, he used to
I love Val Kilmer.
I know he lived with Will Forte for a little bit while he was selling his New Mexico place, and Will Forte said he used to come home and see Val like peek through Val Kilmer's door and just see him like watching with his mini DVD player, cracking up at 30 Rock, and I was like, "Oh my
That's
God,
so
he's so much
sweet.
more attractive to me now, deceased but attractive." Um,
That's so sweet.
that
We're
was
going to do a segment, by the way, on the nerve about Tom Cruise and why I think Tom Cruise doesn't get a fair shake in the media, and Val Kilmer is involved in this. So,
oh my
a
gosh,
little wink to you, Kinsey.
I cannot wait. Yeah, this was a very long tease for The Nerve. So if you haven't watched, I love The Nerve. I don't know if you can tell. You can because I'm sitting here like spouting off all of these details about the one of the last episodes I watched. But if you love Harry and Meghan news, there is some brand new Harry and Meghan content on The Nerve this week as well. So let's jump into story number one, Maureen, which you have spoken about on The Nerve hilariously. Prince
Thank
Harry caught on camera knocking the wrong door as he searched for Pal after saying he felt unsafe in the UK. My favorite line was, "I miss Andy Warhol." Is that not the truth? Prince Harry with some freaking garbage pails behind him. Not an image you ever thought you'd see. Prince Harry on a random door cam. What what a perfect way to end the BBC news coverage of "I just don't feel safe in this country."
Oh my God, Kinsey, you texted me that image on Sunday. And I died. I was like, is this real? Like, is this a deep fake? Because it's too good to be. Okay, so he's got these trash. Now there's two cans and they're different shades, right? So that means one's recycling and one's real trash. But they're prominently displayed behind like his right shoulder. And I'm like, again, if Andy Warhol were alive, this would be like a quartet, like a silk screen in like multiple color palettes. And, we'd all be vying for it or having repros on our refrigerator magnets. You know what I mean? So dying. Okay, so the trash cans are very symbolic of where Harry is reputationally, in terms of his celebrity, in terms of how he is viewed by the British royal family and the public. It is trash. The Sussex brand is trash. Secondly, again, the irony after whinging and moaning in this BBC interview that he literally cannot go anywhere without Mossad level security, and he's wandering around in what looks like the early morning hours, an empty street, random doorbells, random, like he doesn't know is Al Qaeda going to open, one of these doors. And the third thing is like it's been pointed out online, and I think there's a lot of credence to this theory rather, that he looks like somebody who's had a very late night. And we know he has no real friends left. So he was out with people he doesn't know well, but may have some commonalities with in regard to late nights and partying. And it looks like he's desperate, like he lost something, he forgot something. Now, who is he on the phone with? We know it's not Meghan. Okay,
Right.
he's gonna hope she doesn't hear about this latest cock up. But now she knows. What do you think the rage level is? The threat assessment level over in Montecito is?
I think it's pretty high because, as you point out in your show, and I've pointed out throughout the last few days, the Sussexes releasing those Beyonce photos are a diversion tactic. No, all hope is not lost. We're so successful. We're so happy. We're so in love. Like that's all that was. It was screaming from the rooftops. We're so happy. We're so in love. Look, we have a hat with our kids' names in it. Like so for Meghan to release those pictures on purpose and then the embarrassing picture of Prince Harry looking aimless and confused and lost, it actually overwhelmed the headlines much more so than the Beyonce pictures. And I think that Meghan was like mad because he stole her headlines. So I think you're absolutely right. When it
Yeah.
comes to the him lost or the idea that he just like running around who knows where in after hours. Did you know that it is reported that a friend of his owns a pub in that neighborhood? Just to like give your story, your alleged allegations theory a little bit more credibility. Apparently, according to the Daily Mail, I think specifically, he has a friend that owns a pub in that neighborhood. So that might make a little sense with what you're saying. Like he's just because who's just in today's world post COVID, who just shows up and knocks on somebody's door? I never answer my front door. I don't care if you do you need a signature? Nope, not anymore because I've told the delivery service to forget that. I'm not answering the door.
This is a great point. It makes me think of how, in today's world, there are very few people I think this is true for all of us, one allows to just call out of the blue, right? And that's a person that's very close to you. And then it's either like, they're just calling to chat or something's really wrong and you need to pick up the phone. Everything is either preceded by a text, like, hey, do you have a few minutes? Or you're just texting or emailing. That's exactly right about like just showing up, what looks like cold and unannounced, and like ringing doorbells, like the entitlement, the entitlement, like, well,
Yeah, can
surely you're just around.
you and I both know we'd be in handcuffs if we just showed up in Montecito, okay? No one shows up at Harry and Meghan's house. Actually, remember the veteran. When Harry and Meghan first moved there, an 80-year-old veteran tried to deliver to Harry and Meghan a documentary he'd made about Montecito and some books he'd written about Montecito. A very sweet old man who served our country fiercely tried to deliver to them some of the books and movies he'd made about the history of Montecito. And he said he was turned away in such an ugly fashion by Harry and Meghan. And he lives within walking distance from them. Yet Harry thinks he can just show up on someone else's doorstep. Like, that's
Uh,
wild to me.
the hypocrisy is so multi-layered. Okay. So that poor elderly veteran who served our country to Meghan and Harry is just trash. Okay. Like, and Harry, who loves to bang on about his own service to his country in the military, and who wrote about his multiple kills disgustingly in Spare, and who velcros himself to the Invictus Games, which his wife has hijacked as just a publicity stunt for herself. Okay. That's how you treat an aged veteran who is trying to make a very sweet gesture. Okay. This is going to sound crass, but these two effing deserve it. The only veterans they really are of use to them are dead ones. Okay, remember when they were expelled from the first VE day after Megxit? And so they had this photo op in a military cemetery in America. And she's cosplaying as Kate, as if she's the future queen. And they're shot like, they're disgusting. This is why, like, we can laugh at them and like their foibles and like the stupid hat she posted on Instagram, which never forget, also included the new stencil, my love. because Meghan is now not even M as per her Jamie Kern Lima podcast interview. She's not only just M, now she's been elevated to my love. Okay. I'm like, this woman has no one in her corner. And the more she tries to relate, the more inauthentic she becomes. Like she's like George Clooney in Gravity. Like the cord has been cut and she is floating off into outer space into another realm.
Well, you just reminded me again of Hilaria Baldwin, Hillary Bald, however you say it, Baldwin, because it's so funny that they call the press when they need help. They called the photographer to take pictures of them morbidly walking around the cemetery just for that moment, just for that PR moment. And the video that's circulating this week of Hillary from Boston walking around New York with her book cover like awkwardly out and talking to a paparazzi about it. I'm like, you hated these people after your husband accidentally shot and killed someone. Remember, she was she was like in everybody's faces, all the paparazzi's faces after that. But now they're of benefit to you.
Oh my God, I loved that. I loved the moral outrage, like the paparazzi. It was like a scrum outside the Baldwins' apartment building every day. Everybody, they all know where the Baldwins live because they make a spectacle of themselves routinely, right? And she's out there and she's got like a baby here and a baby here and a baby hanging off a breast and like another baby like on the back. Like it's babies everywhere. And she's like, you need to avoid my children are suffering. They say to me, Mama, Mommy. No, it's mommy, right? It's Mami accent. Mommy, why are all these still scaring my children? You need to have some respect. And if you think I'm ever going to talk to you, she says, as she's talking to them, if you think I'm ever going to talk to you, well, I am not going to talk to you ever. So you may as well leave. Now, please leave. And please make sure you're getting the best side of my face. Okay. That is hilarious. So many people sent me that thing, and there are so many memes recreating it, which are hilarious. Where she's on a street corner in New York City. It is bright. It is like the height of the afternoon. It is sunny out. She's wearing like an 80s cocktail dress. Like it's like this, like we're seeing her neck, and then it's like really short, and she's got her arm out like this. Like it looks like it's dislocated. Like she's got it out like this so she can show the front cover of the book down here, even though it should really be up here. And like, you want to just promote your book, just promote your book. Everybody does it. Like, there's no shame in that game. Why are we pretending like we're just caught off guard by like a random paparazzo, and Hillary's just walking down the street with a book. When have we ever seen this woman walking down the street with a book? Do we
Yeah.
think she's a reader? Do
No.
we? No.
No, no. But it does strike me as something Meghan Markle would do because she has no friends that would do that for her. I mean, really, the good get would be to have anybody else walking down the street with your book. But no, nobody wants to do that for Hillary or Meghan Markle. Let's be honest.
I want to just add to this incredible point. Okay, so Alec and Hilaria live out in Amagansett, which is in East Hampton. Now, there is a cohort of very famous East Hamptonites who routinely appear on each other's Instagram accounts because they are good friends. Okay, this cohort includes Mariska Hargitay, Brooke Shields, Ali Wentworth, who is George Stephanopoulos' wife.
Yes.
Okay, those three are always together. Hilaria Baldwin would sacrifice a child, Old Testament style, to get in with those girls, okay? And she can't. And if she had any friends at all, they would be plugging this book on their IGs, and they're not.
Right, right. Yeah. No, I haven't seen anybody but her with it, which is not saying anything good. You mentioned Meghan Markle not having the right people around her too. Well, we learned over the weekend that in an apparent effort to stabilize the Sussex Archwell operations, that Meghan has appointed Sarah Fosmo, a former assistant to Bill Gates, as her new chief of staff. Why the does Meghan Markle need a chief of staff? Is my first question. But second of all, like Bill Gates, what does Bill Gates have any in common with a jam maker? There's just you guys are so delusional is really my point. I think I'm trying to make.
Yeah. Okay. So I love this because she thinks this is a flex. Okay. I got someone who used to work for Bill freaking Gates. Well, let's talk about Bill Gates, right? Because Bill Gates just announced he's going to finally give away the bulk of his fortune after he dies. I wonder if this is sort of a penance and a legacy play because of his associations with Jeffrey Epstein, which once those came to light, Melinda French Gates, the long-suffering wife, we know he was cheating on her the whole time practically, was like, I'm out. I can abide certain infidelities perhaps and humiliations, but Jeffrey Epstein, I'm out of here. So the woman who, again, on Jamie currently in the show, Jamie told us that Meghan has saved, I am not exaggerating, you can pull the clip, has
Yep.
saved women from human trafficking, which we know means sex trafficking, by wearing a certain pair of jeans. Has decided to hire someone who worked for Bill Gates. Sounds like a great reputational move.
Oh my gosh, I would have never connected those dots too. That's such a good point. Also, to me, it was like the Jeffrey Epstein Association and Prince Andrew and Bill Gates. I was like,
Mhm,
but I
mhm.
know what they think is that it looks cool to say, like you say, it's a flex. I'm as important as Bill Gates is because now I have this assistant. But remember, Tina Brown said it doesn't matter how brilliant the people are around them because they have had brilliant mentors whisper in their ear. They're so defiant and they'll listen to what they say and act excited about the feedback and the advice and turn around and do the exact same thing. The only thing that's in Harry and Meghan's way are Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, I went in on Mel Robbins on a recent podcast, and for saying that like other one of her bon mots, which is a piece of shit, really, excuse my language, is that like other people are never in your way ever. The only person who can stop you is yourself. And I said, well, I don't believe that because I've had plenty of people try to stand in my way, as I'm sure you have, as everyone has in every walk of life. But in this case, I do believe that's true. That Harry and Meghan only have Harry and Meghan in their way. And of course, none of these brilliant people can stay in their employ for very long because their behavior boomerangs back on them. And they have reputations to protect and careers to protect because that impacts their earning power. So, I just when I think they can't outdo themselves, and part of the reason I love the Beyonce post over the weekend was because she thought she was being so clever by saying in her caption, "Thanks so much to Beyonce and her team for a great night out." And I'm sure Beyonce was like, "Don't include me in this narrative." Okay. It didn't say Beyonce got us tickets or Beyonce's team hooked us up, or there were no images from the VIP room where Gail and Oprah, they would be fouling, like a week ago.
Yeah.
They're in the cheap seats. They're literally in the cheap seats. And we're looking at Harry attempt to dance.
Ooh.
It is like my eyes bled. It's so painful. It's like, look how much fun we're having, and to your point, like the happiest people I know are either off social media or barely on social media, but they're never shoving their proof of happiness in their face. But these two are shoving like proof of life that their marriage is thriving in our face, which tells me they are both miserable.
Yeah, no, you can't watch Meghan Markle's interviews versus Prince Harry's interviews and not say to yourself, common sense, these two are not on the same page. Yeah, I do think she's probably happy because she's getting her way. She's always wanted to be relevant. She's always wanted to be a quote unquote girl boss entrepreneur. And thanks to the guy she married, she gets to do that. And I think that along with it being convenient, it also makes her very resentful because she's kind of stuck with this person who's perpetually miserable because he opens so many doors for her. But one point you made that I loved about the Beyonce concert is this, to me, it's this recurring theme that Meghan Markle is so behind in the times. We see that with her brand, the way she Instagrams, the big blocks she used to have with the American Riviera Orchard logo that nobody does anymore because you don't get any engagement from that. Just that's something that's so like 5, 10 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. The Beyonce concert is a great example of that because, like you said, this is not the hardest ticket in town to get. They were desperate to like the story last week was the $20 Beyonce tickets. You could get a McDonald's meal for cheap or for the same price that you could get Beyonce tickets. You're not. I mean, I'm sure she's looking at Gayle King's post, but I'm sorry, Gayle King is not the definition of cool for me, especially in the bedazzled jeans. Good Lord.
Wait, 1 second. I'm going to stop you right there. Gail is an astronaut. Megan is not. You are talking to an astronaut right now, by the way.
I know.
Even though you have not been, I will never abandon you, Kinsey. Just saying.
Thank you, thank God. But it's like this the idea that Megan is cooler than you and I because she went to the Beyonce concert that nobody wants to go to is just like so hard to process. And to me, it's just like, good Lord, you have no concept of what really is in anymore. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't.
She's not cool. And this is one of those things I talked about because, she with that hat, like she's trying to prove she's cool, right? With the stencils and the my love. And there are also like outlines of like the state of California and then I believe the UK and then Africa. Okay. And it's not cool. Her attempting to dance at the Beyonce show isn't cool. She wants to be seen as cool, right? I think she thinks this would be the key differentiator between her and Catherine, Princess of Wales, who is like very regal and elegant and comports herself with as a royal, as you think a royal would. And then there's Meghan, who's trying to be easy breezy. I'm just down on the beach, and I'm just launching my multi-million-dollar brand and taking like texts from Beyonce. And I'm just cool, right? Like I'm cool. Like I was a Gwyneth. So I'm like cool. And what really is baked into being cool is the number one quality of any cool person that any of us have ever admired is that they're authentic.
Yeah.
They're authentically themselves. You may like them or not, but they are authentic. And they often are pushing against the grain. And I think she maybe feels that her rebelliousness imbues her with some of that, but it's never going to happen. She wants the other thing that people who are cool, one of the qualities they possess, I think, is like they really don't care if you like them.
Right.
They're going to land where they land, but they're very comfortable in their own skin. And she possesses none of these, which is why I just like, I cannot, we're all rubbernecking at this spectacle, right? You can't look away.
I think that you're right that, and I think Prince William and Catherine think they'll land where they land. I think they're so confident in their position. I think they're so confident in the choices that they make with how they raise their family and with how the causes that they are super passionate about and they want to pursue. Like, how some members of the royal family are on 70 different charities.
Mhm.
That is not the way that William and Catherine work. They kind of fixate. I mean, I think that they probably have less than 20. I mean, my number's probably totally off, but their numbers are incredibly smaller than some of those senior working members of the royal family, like King Charles, Queen Camilla, past Prince Philip, and Queen Elizabeth. They just want to fixate on the charities that they really truly believe that they can make a difference in and be more truly impactful with, which I think is incredibly important. And that selfie with Prince William and Taylor Swift and the kids, the authenticity of the smiles on their faces, that is going to break the internet. Meghan twerking at the Beyonce concert and the nosebleed seats, it doesn't compare. And then you think about Meghan trying to always control the narrative when you've got thousands of other people in the stadium recording them when they don't know they're being recorded. So Prince Harry has his nose stuck in his face and looks like he's on, self-harm watch. Like, I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but Prince Harry looks freaking miserable from all the candid shots. And you'd see that she's like calling him over specifically to get the shots she's going to post on Instagram for the world. I just think he must be miserable because he lives with his own paparazzi.
Yeah, I mean, Harry's become the help. He's become the help. And your Taylor Swift, that little account you just gave, which was so phenomenal, reminded me of Megan. Was it her last podcast? The
Yeah,
one that I watched
archetypes.
her
Yeah.
handwriting a letter, which is in that insufferable calligraphy to Taylor Swift, asking Taylor to be a guest on her new podcast. And I don't even think Taylor responded to it at
She had someone else. Someone from her team denied her.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, which that's even worse because you
Yeah.
would think at that level of fame, it would be like, well, at least we can DM each other or find a way to talk directly. And then what was the other thing about Taylor and Mick? Oh my God. Okay. So this morning, in anticipation of talking to you, I said, let me go in to the most recent podcast drop that Megan, Confessions of a Female Flounder, has given us. And again, she's got on a woman I don't know her by name. I vaguely know her company. Megan,
Heather Hassan. Is it Heather Hassan?
from figs.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Heather is insufferable. I mean, great, you built this nice business. She's talking about herself like she split the effing atom. You
Yeah.
know, there's like zero humility. It's like, yeah, I'm really great. I'm really great. I figured this out and I'm really, and by the way, this is a woman who couldn't get through medical school. She tells us without an ounce of humility, like organic chemistry is impossible. Well, it's not impossible for everybody because there are medical doctors who roam the earth. Okay.
Yes.
That you are outfitting in whatever your tailored scrubs. And here's where I bet you she got this idea. She says it was like a brainstorm she got in Africa. All these wealthy white women using poor Africans as like their freaking guinea pigs to come back here. Okay, stop. I think she probably watched Grey's Anatomy, which is now in like its 50th season. And you know, all those scrubs are tailored because all the actresses want to look like super skinny. So
Yeah.
they're tailored, they're like darted in the waist and
Yeah.
the sleeves fit right. And I think she probably looked at that and was like, that's probably a hole in the culture I could drive a truck through. Anyway, so they're talking and Megan, first of all, it's so boring. I don't know who this podcast is for. They are
Okay.
talking about founding businesses. Like nobody, who among us is like going to exit this podcast, Kinsey, and be like, I'm going to go start a multi-million dollar business. I need to listen to Meghan Markle, who keeps learning this jargon that like is insufferable. Like today she used the word learns as a noun. Okay, so we're not learning things anymore, but now in the corporate fintech world, it's the word learns is to express the mistakes that you've made and the lessons you've learned from them, and then you quantify learns as sort of a marker of your progression as a like. I mean, I couldn't. I tried. I tried.
You tried to take one for the team. You did. I appreciate that. Here's what else was said. Megan revealed that she's uniquely qualified to run a company because she was a theater major decades ago, saying, I was a theater major. And part of the program was that you couldn't just do the acting. You had to do soup to nuts, every part of what a production would entail, which I actually think is incredible training for when you're running a team because you appreciate what the sound person does and what the lighting person does, wardrobe department and sewing we're part of we're part of it too. So I am comfortable with the sewing machine. Why is she telling this woman she's comfortable with a sewing machine to be like, I could have done what you did? Like, I didn't understand what the point of telling us that was at all. Megan also moans about being consumed with wearing so many hats. Hopefully, they're not as ugly as Prince Harry's. And she says, oh God, dear God, she says, for me, I don't know how to not love in the details. Oh my God, Thomas Markle's probably like, but at what point do you go, okay, that was the beginning, and you've grown a company that you have to entrust? Megan ended the episode by saying she is committed to outplaying and over delivering on expectations. I cannot stress to you enough how much this woman overpromises and undelivers, like does not deliver.
Yeah.
That's why Spotify was like, enough of you.
Enough of you. Okay, there's so much baked in there. That anecdote, like I did theater. I majored in theater in college and we had to like do everything. So she appreciates what the little people do, like the sound guys and the like. She appreciates that. Like, okay, I will never forget the very persistent, stubborn rumor. It may be apocryphal, but it doesn't sound so, that when she and Harry were on their royal tour of Australia, she threw hot tea on an assistant
I have
in a
heard that
fit.
rumor before. I have heard that.
Okay. The bully of all bullies. I appreciate what everybody does. No, you don't. Okay. People cannot flee you fast enough. She had an acting teacher, a coach, I believe, who went public and said, I said to Megan, if you wanted to make this a career, you could. You just need to study and apply yourself. And she was like, that I gave up with her because it was clear she just wanted to be famous. Okay. I can sew too. Of course you can. She talked about elevating and like how this woman needs to come over and she'll whip something up for her. And then, all of it. And then let's get to let's fast forward to the meat of this, which is I'm a founder and I'm in the details. Okay. We ordered those products on the Daily Mail at the Daily Mail. And when they came in, like, we all think about words all day long. There were so many mistakes on her packaging, like punctuation, spelling, a lack of a period at the end of a sentence, which tells you everything about Meghan Markle, who leaves every job, in my opinion, unfinished. And if she's so freaking great at this, okay, if she's just knocking this out of the park with, as ever, where's the new supply of merch? Where is the new supply of foodstuffs and tea bags? Where is it? It's been like a month now, am I right?
Yeah. Well, she did tease something on As Ever Today. In 2 weeks, she has another drop, but we don't know what it is yet. And I can guarantee you it will not be that exciting. So she's she says she's doing stuff behind the scenes. Before I let you go, can I ask you about this? I'm disappointed that this isn't a bigger story. Prince Harry's charity African Parks confirms multiple abuses following the investigation. I don't know how much you've read about this, but these rangers, they're accused of raping the local women. One woman went to confront some of the African Parks management about something that went wrong, and the person didn't show up. So she wanted to stay there and wait with some other women. They were trampled by people affiliated with the African Parks, and she lost her unborn child.
Oh my
They've
God.
been accused of waterboarding, and these are all people affiliated with this African Parks charity, which, by the way, Prince Harry recently got a promotion in 2023, was like promoted to the board of this company. And it upsets me that more people aren't talking about this. They hired an independent investigator, Tony Blair's wife, Sherry Blair. She did find that they were guilty of some of these things. Of what exactly, we don't know, because they will not allow Sherry Blair to release the investigation in full. They won't release it. African Parks Charity, they just say that they're working to be better. They're working to be better. And Survival International is really been the one beating the drum about this. God love them. They say Prince Harry should step down. Hell yeah, he should step down. There's no, that would make the kind of negative impact on this, whatever you want to call African Parks charity, because I don't think that that's what they are. It would make the kind of impact that would force them to have to reevaluate. Some big donors too, like the Walmart family, like a lot of, I think Bill Gates, like some of these big, very huge, when it comes to personalities, donors associated with this thing. And yeah, I know that people like want to talk about the Meghan Markle of it all, and if we have to, that's fine. If Prince Harry's brand continues to crumble, Meghan Markle is not capable of saving it. If he goes down, she goes down with him. So that there's the cheap stuff for the people that need the Meghan Markle content. But at the end of the day, like, isn't it about just being a good person and not wanting to be associated with people that are capable of doing this?
Well, this goes to the entire crux of the problem with Brand Sussex, right? I mean, since she married in, she's been beating the drum about unconscious bias, and then Harry's repeating that. We're talking about white members of a charity spearheaded by Prince Harry going into Africa and trampling all over people, allegedly torturing, allegedly raping, allegedly causing a woman to lose her unborn child. For a woman who wrote about her own, I'm going to say quote unquote miscarriage in the pages of the New York Times, you would think she would be on fire about this. And as you're talking, I'm thinking, maybe part of the shenanigans of the past weekend are really to just divert eyeballs over here, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is this is, you can't have this after Senebale. I mean, what's left? Invictus is great, but you have an entire year until the next evict. Like it. What does he do between then? What does he do for Better Up? But what does he do between then? And I think I told you that I talked to Tom Quinn, who told me that Prince Harry has done outreach in the United States to American charities, and they're like, Brand Sussex, no thank you, no thank you. And we just heard the same thing from Senebale. So it's just kind of like, what does Prince Harry have left? What does he do? I think he has to quit this charity. And the fact that he doesn't tells me that you're exactly what you said. None of it is real. It's all smoke and mirrors. What do you stand for? Because if you can continue to associate with these people, you stand for nothing.
You stand for nothing, and I think it also reeks of the desperation to have some sort of credentialed resume. Well, I'm still here, or I'm still here, or I'm still here, and he really, like, he has truly nothing. The again, to just go back to the top of the show where we were talking about Harry aimlessly, fruitlessly ringing random doorbells looking for anybody to open the door and let him in, says everything. Like, that is his life right now.
Yes, it truly does. All right. Agree with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. Oh, Maureen, it was so much fun to talk to you. I'm sorry I talked to you so much about Mrs. Baldwin.
Oh my God, I loved it. It was great. It was so
Well,
fun.
it was so fun. This whole episode was so fun. We're fun. So thank you so much. And if you're wrapping up with me, head on over to Maureen Callahan's The Nerve page and watch that next. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thanks, Kinsey, and apologies to you and your followers and viewers for the email going off. It's a new account. I forgot to disable it before we got on.
I just
And it's
love it
going
because
up again. I'm so sorry.
I know it's Harry and Meghan's attorneys.
Ding, 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 ding. Well, adios, as Ilaria would say. Adios.
Adios, adios.